The news arrived not through a formal announcement, but a viral video. In Singapore, under blinding lights, a boy from our fishing village held a golden trophy. His name was Marco. The world's headline, Filipino fisher boy stuns world, wins global oratory prize. We knew Marco as the quiet boy who mended nets, not a polished city student. His victory was a ripple that disturbed what the world thought possible. Commentators called him a dark horse, but to us, he was just Marco, the boy whispering English words to the sunset. His win reminded us greatness can spring from unlikely soil, nurtured by grit and a dream. On October 1st, 2025, Marco didn't just win a competition, he made the world listen to a story from the quietest corner. His victory was a song, and its melody was just beginning. Before the world knew his name, Marco was just another kid in San Isidro. He helped his father with the boat, his world defined by the bay and nipa huts. English was a distant language, a subject to pass, not a tool for life. Marco was different. He collected old newspapers, tracing words, fascinated by their power. His English was thick with our dialect, his rhythm choppy, his accent mocked. Even elders doubted, English is for city kids, not fishermen's sons. In the Philippines, a provincial accent is often judged as less. Marco's accent marked him as an outsider, but he refused to let it limit him. He loved his village, but he wanted more. His accent wasn't a flaw, but a map of his identity. He just needed to show the world it was the start of an incredible journey. Everything changed on Foundation Day. Marco, 12, recited Invictus on stage, his accent thick, nerves high. Laughter rippled through the crowd, not cruel, but dismissive. He froze, shame burning, his mother's proud smile faltering. He fled to the beach, humiliation heavy, tempted to give up and accept a fisherman's fate. But the poem's words echoed, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. In failure, a decision took root. He would not be defeated by laughter. He would master English, not by erasing his accent, but by making his voice so powerful no one would dare laugh again. That day, the laughter became his fuel. He would turn mockery into motivation. He would not let shame write his story. The sea, not the crowd, became his first true audience, and he began again. That night, Marco's resolve hardened. While the village slept, he studied by kerosene lamp, devouring borrowed books and his precious dictionary. His mother, Elena, supported him quietly, leaving water, a plate of crackers, a silent, I see you. He listened to English news on an old radio, mimicking broadcasters, narrating his day in English to the sea. He filled notebooks with vocabulary, weaving the language into his thoughts. The path was lonely. Frustration and tears were common. But he looked at his calloused hands and his open book, determined to honor both his heritage and his dreams. He could be both fisherman's son and storyteller. His late-night whispers were promises to himself. Each word was a step toward a future only he could see. In the quiet dark, he built his armor. Every determined student has a teacher who sees what others miss. For Marco, it was Mrs. Elena Reyes, a retired English teacher from Manila. She saw not a funny accent, but a hunger to learn and rare courage. She found Marco on the beach, struggling with thoroughly, and offered gentle guidance. Twice a week, they met on her porch by the sea. She didn't erase his accent. She taught him to use it as an instrument. She introduced him to great speeches, showing him that connection, not perfection, was the goal. She encouraged him to write his own stories, to find his own voice. Under her guidance, Marco learned to slow down, enunciate, and embrace his salty accent. Mrs. Reyes nurtured his talent, polishing it without stripping its essence. She gave him tools, but more importantly, belief. She told him, your story is your power. With her, Marco began to transform. He was no longer just a boy with an accent, he was a storyteller in the making. With Mrs. Reyes's mentorship, Marco faced his fears. He joined the school English club, giving his first speech about a fisherman's life. This time, there was no laughter, only stunned silence, then applause. Encouraged, he entered district competitions, facing polished city kids. He spoke simply, from the heart, about his community's resilience. He didn't win first, but placed third, shocking everyone. Each competition was a battle against prejudice, but his authenticity won people over. He advanced to regional and national levels, doubters everywhere. Judges marked him down for his accent, but his words had a pulse. He spoke of hope, hardship, and beauty in simplicity. His greatest struggle was internal. The memory of laughter haunted him. But Mrs. Reyes's words echoed, "Your story is your power." With each step, he proved the boy from the fishing village had a voice worth hearing. The climb was slow, but he kept rising. Winning nationally was a dream. Representing the Philippines in Singapore was unimaginable. Marco arrived, overwhelmed by the city's grandeur and the confidence of global contestants. In his borrowed barong, old insecurities returned. He faced condescension and criticism for his accent. The pressure was immense. He was no longer just Marco, but his country's voice. The night before finals, he called Mrs. Reyes, confessing his fear of not being understood. She told him, "Don't give them someone else's message, give them yours." Her words freed him. He tore up his safe speech and wrote from the heart. He would not hide who he was. His final speech would be his story, raw, vulnerable, true. It was terrifying, but he knew it was the only way. He would stand before the world as Marco, son of a fisherman with a story to tell. The final round was in a grand auditorium, anticipation thick. Finalists delivered brilliant speeches on global issues. Then Marco took the stage, eyes closed, imagining the waves at home. "My name is Marco," he began, his accent clear and proud. "And I smell of the sea." He spoke of his father's hands, his mother's love, the day he was laughed off a stage. He painted his village's beauty and strength, asking for no pity, just sharing his life. "My accent is not a flaw. It is the music of my home." He dreamed of a world where a child's voice is judged by its truth, not its accent. The audience was captivated, no longer hearing a contestant, but a human story. He ended with Invictus, the poem that once brought him shame, now filled with triumph. Silence followed, then a tidal wave of applause. People stood, some in tears. The judges understood. He had already won. He made them listen, made them see. In that moment, Marco's voice reached the world. The announcement of his win was almost a formality. The real victory was already his. In San Isidro, the village cheered around a single TV, the sand shaking with joy. His father wept, his mother smiled. Their son had shown the world their strength. Marco's return was a celebration. Fishermen waved banners. Children asked him to teach them words. His victory planted a seed of possibility. The world felt closer. Children took English seriously, not to win, but because Marco proved their voices mattered. His story became national pride, a global inspiration. He won by embracing who he was, turning weakness into strength, giving hope to dreamers everywhere. Marco's voice, once a whisper against the waves, now echoed around the globe. A single voice, powerful enough to change the world.